Hey guys, Katie here, and today I want to talk about my favorite and least favorite books of 2014. I actually only finished about 41 books this year, so I tried to keep my favorites low so that I wasn't talking forever when, I didn't really read that many books. I had a lot of fun this year reading a lot of different books, and I am looking forward to 2015. I have some reading goals that I will share in a different video and other things, and hopefully I will find more favorites next year. One of the first books that I really loved this year was Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. I just had so much fun with this book, and I love the style and the characters, just all around. It was a great book. What I found out when I posted my review was that a lot of people don't like it, and it's not really for everyone. But I'm really glad that I read it. I still have Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close to read. I just generally really enjoyed what he was doing here, and it was just a great read. The next book that I really liked this year was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I think most of us can agree that this is a fantastic and very fun book, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the movie adaptation. I am not always a fan of movie adaptations, but this one could be really great, and I'm interested to see what they do with it. At this point, this book has made the rounds on BookTube pretty well, but if you haven't heard of it, it's this really cool futuristic kind of sci-fi book about a virtual world. It's like a video game sort of. So if that sounds cool to you, you should read it. It is a lot of fun. The next book that I really loved was The Stone Gods by Jeanette Winterson, and I think I said at the time I want to read everything she's written, and I haven't read anything else that she's written yet except for the book that I had already read by her when I was in college, so that's something I'm still planning to do. The Stone Gods is actually science fiction. It's kind of hard to find because the writer Jeanette Winterson kind of said something like, labels, like who needs them, but I would definitely say this is science fiction. It's set in the future. It's kind of like a sort of dystopian future. Amazing book, and kind of beautiful, and it makes you really think about what you're doing, because once again, this is a future that could happen. And I still have this from the library, and they probably want it back. This was fairly recently, so you may remember that I really loved Howard's End by Forster, and once again, this is another writer that I'd like to read more of his work. Definitely that is in the works. I'll link to all my reviews down below, so feel free to check those out. Howard's End is a classic, and it's set in Edwardian England, and it kind of deals with the idea of kind of clashing ideologies, liberal versus conservative, country versus city, all sorts of things, England versus Germany. It's kind of this pre-World War I book that assesses the situation in England through people. So, amazing classic. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And there is a book that Zadie Smith wrote called On Beauty, which is based on Howard's End, which I was supposed to read months ago, but I still haven't read that. But that is definitely something to consider when you are looking into Howard's End. That's something else you can read. And finally, this is very recent, Ancillary Justice by Leckie. I loved this so much, and it's so weird. I didn't expect that I would have so many sci-fi books in my pile. This was a great read, and something very different for me, and I kind of from there thought that I should maybe try to get more into sci-fi fantasy. I don't know, we'll see. You've probably heard of this around BookTube. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that there are people who read science fiction who watch me. It seems a little bit harder than the other stuff that I've read. I don't know if that's a thing. I know there are like different tiers of sci-fi and fantasy. I don't know which one this is at, but it was a bit more complex, and it was very unique. Highly worth a read. One more book I want to mention that I don't have with me because I lent it out is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. An amazing, beautiful book. I just loved everything about it. The writing, the setting, the character of Agnes. She's just incredible, and I love the way that her story kind of very slowly unfolds. You have no idea what's going on for like half the book, and it's wonderful. So I loved that book too. Now on to my least favorite books. This was the very first book that I reviewed on BookTube and my very first video, and I felt really bad about posting a negative review for my first booktube video, but I went for it and it seems to have worked out. It was Death Comes to Pemberley by P.D. James. P.D. James recently passed away, so that was kind of sad. I read some of her other work and I really like it. I think she's a good writer, and there are some books of hers that I would really like to read, but Death Comes to Pemberley was just so ugh, and it was just kind of like, you know, a sequel for Pride and Prejudice that I just feel like didn't do any of the characters justice, and I didn't feel like Darcy was right or Elizabeth was right. Everybody was wrong. I will say I watched the first 2 parts of the Death Comes to Pemberley BBC miniseries and it was fantastic and I really enjoyed it, and watching it made me kind of understand the book a little bit better. Maybe I was a little harsh on it, I don't know, but yeah. So if you're interested in this, I would recommend checking out the BBC miniseries instead of the book. I just didn't like the book, but that's me. Interestingly enough, I have another adaptation, sort of, from a Jane Austen novel, Pride and Prejudice again, and it's The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet by Bernie Sue and Kate Rorick. This is like a companion to the web series, which is amazing, and I love it. I've watched it all the way through, like 4 times now. Totally wonderful. I really loved Lizzie in this series, and I was really looking forward to getting kind of her perspective and some more insight and reading Darcy's letter and all of that. And it was just cheesy and I didn't feel like I was getting more, and it didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel like her voice. So for me, this was a total bust, which really was disappointing. I know there are fans of the show who really liked it, but it wasn't for me. Finally, this is one I haven't talked about because I actually bought it about 2 weeks ago and I read some of it and I just couldn't keep going. I'm going to return the book because I have time to do that. I know people like this book. It is John Dies at the End by David Wong. I wanted to like it, I really, really did, but I just couldn't. I don't know, it's not my thing. Yeah, walking meat men are disgusting and they seem kind of bro-y. So I guess this wasn't for me. And I'm adding it to this because I was just kind of like consistently disgusted by what was happening in this book, which is why I think it kind of constitutes for, like, you know, a really least favorite. This and the Lizzie Bennet Diaries book are the only 2 books that I actually said, no, I'm not gonna read this, ever. I'm done. So kind of unique because I usually stick it out. I don't know, if you think I should keep trying on this book, let me know, but I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of what was happening. So anyway, so those were my favorite and least favorite books of 2014. It was a great year and I'm so glad that I had the chance to read all these books. Some of them were recommendations from you guys and other booktube people, and I really appreciate that. So many books that I love so much I found through booktube. So looking forward to next year. Let me know below what your favorite and least favorite book of the year were, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, Katie here, and today I'm doing a tag. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about YouTube-y type stuff, so I decided to do the Secret Diary of a YouTuber tag. I don't think anyone's tagged me, but then again, I am not good at keeping